Hello, a good Sunday afternoon. My name is Michelle, and I am a mother to an almost 10-year-old little boy who was diagnosed at 2.5 years old with the autism spectrum disorder at level 2. I've been seeing a lot of content lately that is so heartbreaking about, parents and loved ones wanting to attend church but not feeling like they have a place in that church community for their child because their family looks different. My son does have apraxia of speech. We are an autism family. And if you're a believer in Jesus, you know how hard it is to get to a place where you can find a faith-based community for your child, for your family, and meet everybody at their levels. It's so easy to accommodate a child that learns differently or communicates differently when they're toddlers or infants because it hasn't really come up yet. But once he got to an age where he was going into preschool and his communication was very different, his habits were very different, we didn't really find a place for him and we kind of shied away from it, to be honest with you. It was going to be too difficult, that we would have too much anxiety, didn't really think about what that would look like later on. So after post-pandemic, we had another child in 2021, and my son was 6 years old. And we just thought, man, like, it's now or never. Like, we had been doing online services from our old church for years at this point, and we didn't want to continue to not only rob ourselves of the opportunity, but rob our children of the opportunity to have a Christ community. And so we decided to go to church again. But we just said it's now or never. Like, life is not going to look different for us at any point, so we are just going to go for it. My son, being 6 years old at the time, it was very obvious that he had different needs. He makes sounds. He's ADHD, so he's all over the place, but he's happy. We just had to really step out on faith and not look for the community that would support us, but look for the God in everywhere that we went with our son. So we really prayed about it, and we ended up finding a great church. When we initially first started going to the church, we put my child in a class of littles, so younger than his peer group, because we knew he didn't have the ability to sit through lesson and go through things and navigate his peer group and their services at the time. And once we realized at some point he had kind of outgrown, we felt the need to put him in the same age group because he was a lot bigger than the other children. So if he did have any kind of behaviors or tantruming or anything like that, it posed a potential danger to the smaller children because he was so much bigger. So we were like, okay, well, what are we gonna do? There wasn't a staff member or a volunteer that was able to care for my son the way that I was. So that means, hey, you can't be in service, but you could still be in church. I just want to encourage parents to not shy away from church ministries that aren't able to serve at the level at which they can at therapy or they can at school. It's just a lot to expect from a community that has not been exposed to your child and their specific needs. For parents that were concerned about, well, I can't go to the service and I can't leave my child, church doesn't have to look like what it looks like for everybody else. If your child has needs that you only know and language that you only understand and needs guidance that only you can give, then maybe church is going to have to look a little different for you, the same way it looks a little different for your family. Hey, my son has a need and his needs are ever changing, which means our needs are ever changing. And what works for us is that we started going with our child to their church service. So whenever they would have the children's service, we go, helping him navigate, helping him engage, helping him play, helping him process that transition of what being with his peer group looks like. When we did run into difficulties with him not understanding or wanting to stay in one place and get fixated, and he was having a difficult time leaving the playground area and going to class and sitting still for lesson and staying quiet, we want this to happen for him. We want him to do better. We want him to enjoy. We also don't want to be a complete distraction to the class. So let's work on what we can do to help him along in these areas. And we worked with a neurologist, we worked with a therapist to help him navigate church. This doesn't necessarily mean that he was working towards independence, but we just wanted to help him through how to be with his peer group for the entirety time that he was at church. And, it just looks different because it is different, and that's okay. Don't let the enemy rob you of the opportunity to not only be in a Christ-filled community, but to also expose your Christ-filled community to what your family looks like, what they need. Let them love on you. Let them be around your child. Let them learn what living differently looks like. Let them learn what different abilities require. As much as you need to be in support in a community, they need you too. Let it be different. I think God can handle that all. I know that God can handle all of it. I don't ever want anyone to be cheated out of the opportunity to get to know my child, because he's amazing. He's amazing, and I learned so much from him. And being able to share that with the faith-based community so they can learn how to love on your child too, and how to love on you, and how to be around someone who operates differently, who thinks differently, communicates differently, who has different sensitivities or whatever. Like, just go for it. Pray for compassion, pray for courage, pray for audacity, and pray for your community that you're going into, that they may receive you well. And if they make a mistake, have compassion and forgiveness for them. Have grace and mercy upon them for not knowing, and help them along the same way that you have to do for yourself, because we're still learning as parents and caregivers how to handle our children. We don't always do it right. We leave them the opportunity to learn from your family and to love on your family. So I pray for you guys to have courage and have the faith enough to just step out and do something different so that your church can look a little different.